So we just got this bullish post from Elon Musk on this platform with him saying, quote, back to spending 24/7 at work and sleeping in conference/server/factory rooms. I must be super focused on XAI and Tesla plus Starship launch next week as we have critical technologies rolling out. And then he goes on to kind of talk about an issue that took place with X and how they were able to resolve it. But this is overall pretty bullish. Now, it's not that we want Elon Musk to be suffering and having poor sleep and just having to sleep on the floor, breaking his back, but it's kind of good news because we have already heard Elon Musk just not too long ago mentioning that he's going to be separating himself from politics, and now with him saying that he's going to be more committed or fully committed to his businesses like Tesla, well, this is obviously bullish. We want the Elon Musk that we had back in the past, right? The Elon Musk who's maximizing shareholder value, even if this means him sleeping in a beanbag or sleeping bag on the floor in the factories, right? This is exactly the type of energy that we want from a CEO if you want to see the stock going up. Any reason whatsoever that you have to do to go ahead and invest your energy into the business. And that's what we didn't have for a while for Tesla. And that's why we saw Tesla stock pretty much suffer. And I made so many videos of Tesla stock back when it was at its peak not too long ago saying, look, Tesla stock's going to be falling down. Now, it wasn't just because of Elon Musk delving into politics. There were many other factors, but we're finally at a time where things are looking pretty good for Tesla. In contrast, we are seeing the market kind of make a slight U-turn, right? It's, slightly falling off. Recently just broke down this area of support. It's still above some moving averages, but we are seeing the market kind of fall down a bit. And then additionally, when taking a look at the relative rotation graph, we see XLY and XLK in the leading quadrant, but slightly falling down. And the reason why, XLY, which is consumer discretionaries, that sector, and XLK, which is the technology sector, the reason why we don't want to see those falling down is because generally when we see consumer discretionaries and technology and those sectors doing well and going up, we tend to see the overall market going well and going up, right? Because they make up a large portion of the S&P 500. And so we're starting to see those sectors kind of start to fall down, kind of calm down a bit. And that's a bit concerning because, of course, we could have Tesla stock kind of decouple from, the rest of the market. But what we really want to see is not only strength in Tesla, but strength in the overall market, because that, confluence of both strength in Tesla and the overall market makes it a much more stronger movement upwards, right? We don't want to really just see Tesla stock going up and everything falling down. We want to see everything alongside Tesla stock going up, and that confirms a stronger bullish move upwards, and that's kind of not what we're seeing currently. Now, looking at Tesla stock from a daily perspective, we are seeing Tesla stock kind of consolidate and hold up much nicer than the S&P 500, but it's not doing anything too crazy. Now, I do want to share something that is pretty interesting and again pretty bullish for Tesla, and that is this right over here, which is this chart over here showing the alternative function in the Bloomberg terminal, showing the percentage of year-over-year increase in credit card activity for Tesla stock. And we could obviously see it's kind of going to the moon over here, right? It's going to Mars, it's going up, and that's pretty bullish. Now, there's a lot of rumors of why this could be going up, right? Some speculate that, hey, look, there was a lot of trials for FSD that was coming out, and now those trials are expiring, and so now we're starting to see people who put, the credit card for the trials in FSD now start to get charged, and so that's creating additional revenue for Tesla. There's also others that speculate, hey, look, this is a lot of interest that's coming into Tesla right now, especially because of, guess what? We had the robo-taxi event coming out, not the robo-taxi event, the Austin event, right, for Tesla that's coming out pretty soon. And then, of course, others speculate, well, this is because of tariffs, right? Because this, just a month ago with the concern with tariffs, many people kind of started to plow in and use their credit cards for deposits, right? Now, I know some people may say, well, why are people using credit cards to buy Teslas? No. It could be the credit cards are used for the deposits for Teslas. Right now, again, we don't know, but what we do know is that the chart is going up, and that's pretty bullish, right? Pretty good news. Now, I do have to be the bearer of bad news and share this post from Donald Trump that is a bit concerning, which could really caused the market to slightly fall down even further, which is him saying, quote, "I've always had a very good relationship with Vladimir Putin of Russia, but something has happened to him. He has gone absolutely crazy. He is needlessly killing a lot of people, and I'm not just talking about soldiers. Missiles and drones are being shot into cities in Ukraine for no reason whatsoever. I've always said that he wants all of Ukraine, not just a piece of it, and maybe that's proving to be right. But if he does, it will lead to the downfall of Russia. Likewise, President Zelensky is doing his country no favors by talking the way he does. Everything out of his mouth causes problems. I don't like it, and it better stop. This is a war that would have never happened if I was president. This is Zelensky's, Putin, and Biden's war, not Trump's. I'm only helping to put out the big and ugly fires that have been started through gross incompetence and hatred." Now, I have to say, this is a bit concerning, right? Because we're hearing President Trump flat out say, look, Putin, crazy. He's crazy. Which we don't normally hear from Trump. In fact, he always says, look, I'm working with Putin, and he tries to kind of have this like decency of just trying to be a political force where he's trying to glue, right, what's ever going on in the war with Ukraine. However, now we hear Trump kind of saying, look, Putin, crazy. And the reason this is a bit concerning, and I gotta take a sip real quick. By the way, not sponsored, this is Liquid Death. But the reason this is crazy is because we've heard, President Trump say, and this was when he was campaigning, that look, day one, in the first 24 hours, he's gonna end the war. Well, here we are now, months later into his presidency, and now we're getting this post saying, look, it kind of it's him admitting that, look, I may not be able to put the fire out, I'm trying, but look, this guy is crazy, and Zelensky, he's not helping out, this would have never happened had I been in office, and it's a bit concerning, and it might start to cause some concern, right? We always talk about how the market does not like uncertainty, right? And so when we kind of get this uncertain message from President Trump, well, it's not good news. But I want to quickly just point out the retail sentiment survey over here, because this is something that I talk about often within the Push and Profit private group. And oftentimes when there's like this over extreme to one side or the other, whether it's bullish or bearish, that's really the opportunity to do the opposite. For example, if we look at the bottom week ending in 4/30/2025, we saw that retail was 59% bearish. And we use that as an area of looking to do the opposite of what retail does, right? Because it was an extreme, right? A lot of extreme fear. And that was actually, if you look at the S&P 500, a great time to buy. Now, as we are here, the last report that we got on 5/21/2025, we kind of see it start to even out, where we see, look, there's a 37% of retail investors who are bullish, a 36% or 36%, sorry, 38%. Sorry, I don't know why I can't. What is this? This dyslexia that I'm having over here? Who knows? But this, it's an even kind of spread of bulls and bears or retail investors. And the reason I point this out is because this is a data point I often use for those within the Push and Profit private group where, quick plug, if you want to join, check out the links in the description below. We have a massive coupon sale for Memorial Day, which is going to be expiring in just 2 days. You could just join for $2, right? For the first couple of months, you could cancel at any time. This way you get access to my daily briefings. I break down what's going on in the market, all the good stuff, right? But what I'm trying to say is that we often look at this report and we try to look at, well, is retail overly bullish? Well, then it's the time to sell. Is retail overly bearish? Well, this is the time to buy. And we're kind of at this point where it's kind of even. There's, again, not really overly extreme view on the market. And so it's kind of, we're in limbo, right? We have good news for Tesla, but then we have bad news overall with just global tensions, global uncertainties, right? And then, of course, we have retail who's kind of having mixed feelings. So, it's going to be something that we're going to have to really watch and see play out. Now, I do want to kind of move into a technical aspect for Tesla, and I want to point this out over here on this chart that you see, which shows, Tesla and the market profile histogram, which, by the way, if you don't know what the market profile is, it's this stuff right over here. It's the red stuff. And the reason why we look at this is because market profile is a way to see where price spends the most time, showing areas of value. And when price moves through areas where it spends little time, it often moves quickly because there's not that much of kind of interest, right? There's not this agreement between the bulls and the bears. So to kind of understand this a bit better, right? When there's an area where there's a lot of value, right? We see price sticking to a certain area for a long period of time. That's because the bulls and the bears agree that this is the area where price should be at. Now, when there's little areas of value over here, right, we tend to see price go up quickly because we don't see that same agreement where, the bulls and the bears are all buying at the same time, causing price to kind of consolidate. We tend to see it skewed to one area, which is why we saw this gap over here. It's obvious that the Bears lost control and the Bulls gained control, and that's why we saw this massive move upwards for Tesla stock. And then we hit this area of value, Tesla stock started consolidating, and now what we want to pay attention to is, well, are we going to move upwards, right, with the bullish news from Tesla? Well, then we want to look forward to the next area of resistance, or are we going to actually fall down along with the market, especially with the recent bad news that we're getting from geopolitical tensions? And if we do, well, then that's bad news because then we could see price fall down fairly quickly. So just something I kind of wanted to share for you guys from just a technical perspective. You guys know that on this channel, I break down Tesla from a fundamental perspective often, a technical perspective, a macro perspective. We look at alternative data. We try to use several different data points in confluence to kind of get a picture of what's going on. And right now, what I'm seeing, right, is that, look, everything else in the market is kind of moving to an area of uncertainty, but we're kind of getting bullish news for Tesla, which means that Tesla can start to push upwards, but it may not be that push with a lot of strength behind it. So that's kind of what I'm seeing with Tesla. Now, quick disclosure, I currently do not have a position in Tesla anymore. I recently exited my position. Again, you guys should only trade and invest in whatever you see value in. I'm still significantly beating the market. And if you guys want to know what stocks I'm interested in, what trades I'm doing, and what are my thoughts for the market, again, check out the links in the description below. One of the links is going to be a link to join the Push and Profit private group, or you could click this card right over here. Or I think it's over here. Who knows? It's somewhere over here. And you guys could join with that coupon code. Now, we also have heard Cathie Wood start to become really vocal for Tesla, which it seems like she kind of disappeared for a while. And now she's coming back, louder than ever, being very bullish for Tesla. And I want to play this clip right over here for you guys.
Tesla, we believe, will have a lock on the robotaxi business in the U.S. First robotaxis launching in Austin in June. And we believe they're going to proliferate through the United States, especially if we move regulation from a state level to federal level, which we believe will happen. Is going to proliferate through the United States, I think, more quickly than many people expect. Many people don't expect it at all. So that's going to be easy to beat.
Now, of course, this doesn't mean much. We know that Cathie Wood has a huge exposure for Tesla. And of course, she's going to want to window dress and, go on TV, Bloomberg, CNBC, Yahoo, whatever, financial news station that she can, and talk positive about Tesla. But it's just interesting that she's coming back now when we're starting to get some good news. So you guys let me know in the comment section down below, what are your thoughts on Cathie Wood, right? Or just Tesla in general. But make sure to hit that like button if you have found any value in this video. And thank you guys so much for watching.
Now, real quick, for those of you guys that made it this far in this video, I just want to personally thank you guys, especially for those of you that hit the like button, subscribe, right? You guys mean a ton for what I do here with these videos I put out on YouTube. Currently, I'm just going on a nice little quiet walk. I'll kind of show you guys where I'm at. That was my fiance in that shot. And I just think it's nice to take a quiet walk, right? Especially not when the market gets noisy, but just when the world, right, gets noisy. I think it's important to kind of just find that little peace and really just delve into the moment. But with that said, before you guys go, thank you guys so much. Just wanted to mention that. Check out this video right over here, and I'll see you guys on that next video. Take care, guys.